everyone, to the Outtakes podcast. I'm Sam, and we are back once again to talk about everything in the world of pop culture. Joined, as always, by my amazing crew. Amelia, how have you been?
I'm good. I'm surrounded by construction, so apologies to our listeners if you hear the old beep in the background. But I'm good. Apart from that, I'm good.
Thing is, you apologise, but if they hear it, it's my fault. So
True. Blame Sam.
Joe, how about you?
All right, yeah. There's no construction around here.
Nice.
So, it's pretty. I can sleep soundly.
I'd swear, but I don't know if we're allowed to.
Yeah.
We can swear on the show. Fuck you, Joe.
Yeah. And Jacob, how have you been?
Pretty all right. Again, no construction disturbance, but there's
Fuck you too, Jacob.
trains. You know.
I mean, a train's running. We're recording this during lockdown UK. A train's still running a lot, or
Well, there are lots of freight trains still. They're the noisy
Right.
ones, and they go on for like 10 minutes just going past.
I find it crazy that they go past you and then they go past me, but they're worse for me because they break here.
Oh, those
That's
brakes
the
are
sound.
screechy.
So I understand.
oh,
the
so
pain.
pleasant. Well, anyway, away from the real world problems, who wants to hear about some pop culture nonsense world? What are there problems? Some of them are problems. Some of them are cool. Who wants some good news? Actually, first, let's start with some positive news.
Start with the good news.
So,
Go on.
whomst here has seen the movie Attack the Block?
Me.
Not
I have
for
seen
years.
that.
Is it the
Years
one
ago.
with John Boyega?
John Boyega fighting
I've
aliens
seen
in
parts
a.
of it.
It is so good. It is a good flick. Joe Cornish and John Boyega reveal that they are working on ideas for a sequel.
Oh
to that
wow!
movie.
Ooh.
Okay.
It's been a while. I assume we'd all be up for it. The thing they've not really alluded to what it would be, but I would be surprised if it was aliens again. You know, it's the sort of thing that I think they could reasonably do any kind of genre with. So whatever they get out of that seems really fun.
I have to watch the first one.
Elsewhere, we've got some petty news. Let's do something really petty. I'm sure we've all heard about this. They re-released Avatar in China.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah.
So this was like a bizarre week where it seemed like everyone had a take on it, but it was a studio reclaiming a record it stole from itself.
Yeah, but it was thingy though. We all know it was bloody James Cameron's idea. He's like, oh man, we've released it 6 times already. Have you had it? But then that one film, which is better than mine, managed to beat it on its first run. Oh, I'm so angry. Let's just release it in China again so we can win back the thing. So people get excited for the sequel that no one wants.
I'm really surprised that even... I mean, it didn't do really, really well. I think it made 40 million or something. That's what pushed it over the edge. I'm still surprised people really went to see Avatar. I wouldn't watch Avatar in the cinema now, given
You know
the option.
what?
Nah.
When we last went, when I first went to see it, right, my memory of Avatar, right, one is it's too long, which is, like you said, why I've never rewatched it. But God knows what year it came out, but I was young, and those 3D glasses, because the technology was only fairly new, wasn't it? Oh my god, I came out with the world's largest migraine, and I felt like I needed real glasses after watching in that 3D. So I don't think I'd even try and go again with better 3D now. I just couldn't.
No.
Nah.
I don't even think I'm going to go watch the second one when that comes out.
Right? I can't think of anything interesting they'd use to entice me to see it, you know?
No.
It depends.
Just,
If the story's good, maybe. But I have no clue where they can take this.
He's not set up a world where an interesting story can happen. Like the first Avatar, it's just boring alien planet. You know what I mean? It's just alien planet with blue monkeys. Done. You know.
They've got some floating mountains in some clouds.
Yeah, but Halo has Minecraft has floating mountains. It's not a new concept.
I'll tell you what this
You know what
does
I
have
mean?
that no one else has. Tail sex.
Yeah, Avatar does have tail sex.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose.
Minecraft doesn't have that.
I suppose.
They lean
Probably a
entirely
mod out
into it, like an R-rated kind of sex comedy. Maybe then I would watch it.
Okay. Yeah, in that situation, if they're going to do that, then okay.
It's
I
a
might
bunch
watch
of...
it.
It's set thousands of years after the first one, and there's structures all around... What's the planet called? Planet's called
Pandora.
Pandora. There's structures all around Avatar, and it's a bunch of Na'vi out on the town, down to clown, and they're trying to pick up girl Na'vi. That's what the movie is.
It's like
Out on the
American
town,
Pie
down
or
to
Avatar.
Yes! One of them obviously has to be an avatar, like he's a secret human.
Oh yeah.
You know, yeah. That's our POV into
That's when it gets hella weird.
That already sounds better than the film we already got. So, you know.
And otherwise, we have, because this is the thing with this being more pop culture podcast. I've got a little bit of news from the world of video games. So this, God, it's crazy. So you remember that Avengers game that we all should have bought and none of us did because it was garbage?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're making it worse on purpose. This is the news.
Oh no.
So they are increasing the grind, right? And now I wouldn't bring this up otherwise, but it's just like a case of such obvious, blatant lying and two-facedness that I can't sort of bypass it. So they're increasing how long it takes for you to level up on purpose to make it a less enjoyable experience. And the reason they're doing it is because this is the reason they're giving, okay? See if you can spot the holes as I explain this. They're saying they want to avoid confusing new players. They're worried that players are leveling up too fast. They want gaining new powers to feel a bit more special, so they want to space out how often you get to level up. So it's to avoid confusion. And to make sure they achieve that, they're not slowing down the leveling process until after you hit level 25, which is halfway through the progression system.
Wait. What?
Yes.
How many new players are they expecting anyway?
I think that this news is a sign that it's going free to play.
Maybe.
Yeah, okay, maybe. I mean, like, to be fair, I only know one person who played it and actually enjoyed it. And I don't trust this person's opinion because this same person also, they also came out of Rise of Skywalker and was like, oh my god, that was amazing, I can't wait to watch it again.
Oof.
So, I don't trust this person's opinion. So if I automatically assume if this person likes it, then it's not good. So, you know.
Joe's just lost a friend.
Well, you know what? He's annoying anyway, so. But I feel really bad if someone's watching this and they're like, oh, but I'm the one who liked it.
Yeah, right? Because we're just wrecking
You know,
it.
if you think it's you, then, you know, sorry, it might be, but it also might not be.
So, if that's the case then, if I'm right and it's going free to play, it makes sense why they'd slow it down because they want to entice you to spend real money in the real money shops and stuff. Would any of us consider playing it if it went free to play? Because I am still totally on the... Would you at least give it a go? I think out of curiosity, but I wouldn't anticipate getting into it, you know?
Well, I got a question.
The beta when that was available, when that was free, and just never got round to playing it, and then it got stopped. So if it was free, I'm all for playing it.
Well,
yeah, but if it's like Lego Marvel superheroes, then I'll play it.
Do you know what? The combat is about as complex. So
okay.
Good thing, bad thing, I don't know. Other than that, though, there hasn't really been much happening. There has been things like Oscar noms came out, but I've just not seen any of them. So
half of them aren't
available
in the UK. As a UK viewer, we can't even watch half of them yet.
Yeah.
That's what I've read. Like, but
I mean, we could watch Shaun the Sheep Farm again. That's up for an Oscar.
Nice.
Good stuff.
Right.
I'm sure I've seen like one of them now that's been nominated.
I think Manx up there, the one about...
Oh, I've seen that. That's good. I enjoyed that.
Is it good? I want to watch that.
Yeah.
Onward and Soul are the two I've seen.
That Francis McDormand one's there. Is it Nomadland or something?
Sounds right.
Yeah, isn't that coming to something? That's coming to like Disney Plus or something soon.
Something like that.
So yeah, I couldn't even necessarily predict or guess or whatever who's going to win what. So that's a shame. And all the rest of the news was dominated by the fact that the Snyder Cut finally came out, which will be the tail end of this episode of the podcast. So before we go all in on that sort of stuff, I want to know what we've been watching, and because I assume what we've all been watching is probably Falcon and the Winter Soldier, if there's briefly anything else anyone wants to shout out. Otherwise, we just talk about the first episode of that.
Grand Budapest, everyone needs to give that a rewatch. We rewatched, that was a lot of words. And I forget how much of a fun film that is. So if you've not watched that, watch that on the weekend or whatever in the week. It's good. I always forget how good it is. That's my recommendation.
And what did I rewatched something recently. I rewatched Doctor Sleep recently, the sequel to The Shining.
Oh, I've not seen that. Is it good?
Is it actually good?
Yeah, I enjoy it. Yeah.
Fair enough. It looked to me when it came out, it looked like a very generic horror versus The Shining.
It's kind of weird. It's like half of it is kind of, they do play on like I'm trying to think the best way to describe it. There's a lot of, what's it called when they put the stuff that the fans want? What's that called?
Fan service.
Yeah, there's a lot of fan service in it. Like, they recreate some of the scenes from The Shining with like lookalike actors and stuff, which people hate, but I don't think it's that bad. Obviously it's not Jack Nicholson, and it's not, but they do a good enough job. And it was bold of them to recast the people instead of just CGIing them on. And they do a good job. Obviously they're not the main actors, but it's a lot of fan service, which I don't mind anyway.
I wonder if the book's like that, because it's a book, isn't it? You wrote the second one.
Well, yeah, this is the weird thing. So this is the thing about Doctor Sleep. There's that whole story, isn't there, that Stephen King didn't like the version of the film that came out because it changed the ending and stuff, because the ending's stupid anyway. But this film kind of combines the actual story is based on the book Doctor Sleep, and then the end is the book of the original.
With the hotel exploding.
Yeah, so that's kind of like, and it's the thing that the hotel possesses Jack to do the whole axe thing in the book, rather than in the book. In the film, it just kind of hints that it could be the hotel, but he's also suffering cabin fever stuff, which is better. But in the film, it kind of uses the thingy, and there's a whole scene, and it's a weird mix, and I like it. It works. It's obviously not as good as the original, but there's just a really cool bit when they go into the hotel again, and it flying over a lake, and it does the music, and it's sick. It's amazing. It's so sick. So I watched that again. It's so good. So I enjoy it.
Fair dues.
Ewan McGregor's good in it as well. But it's Ewan McGregor. He's good in everything.
Yeah, true. I've never seen him mess up in any film.
No.
So other than that, I assume we've all checked out the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
So far, I'm thinking. So far, to be honest with you, I am way impressed by it. Not necessarily that it's like the most amazing thing ever, but it's so much better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be. I thought they're going to team up immediately. I thought it was going to be like within 10 minutes, I'm just going to be watching two bickering cishet men engaging bland action sequences, and it touched on places and areas that I just didn't consider it ever would.
Yeah, I'm kind of thingy. Like I'm kind of. It's like very instantly different than WandaVision was. Not that I ever expected them to be the same, but it's very, very different, and it's very Captain America Winter Soldier of a TV show, which I know a lot of people say that's the best one, but I don't think it is.
Yeah, I don't think it is either.
I think it's not Captain America still.
Yeah, I think
great
the
movie,
first
isn't
one's
it?
better,
I don't know.
honestly. But that's just thingy. The first one, I prefer the first one.
Yes.
It's better. I'm not that about Civil War either, to be honest. I don't think that's that good either. But it's fine. I've only watched that. The only Captain America I've watched more than once. No, that's probably a lie. I've probably seen Winter Soldier at least twice, but I've seen the first one quite a few times. So, not that I don't like Falcon and Winter Soldier or anything, but it gives me the same kind of vibe. So I'm kind of.
Here's a question then.
Yeah,
Sorry, you go first.
No, you go on.
Because I don't know, I just want to know if you guys feel the same as I do, or whether this is just me. But I think the reason why I didn't kind of get on, I still think they're good. Like they're all okay films, but stuff like Falcon and Winter Soldier, the Winter Soldier and Civil War and all this, I get really bored when it's trying so hard to be like realistic on the SHIELD and CIA kind of FBI side. I find that so boring. Like, and that's why I was so scared going into Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because I was like, that's the side of the stuff I don't care about. I think that's why I enjoyed, like, the fight sequence is quite good in Civil War and all that. But that's because it's like a formal comic book. It needs to be wacky and it needs to be crazy, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys feel the same way.
Well, Winter Soldier, I think, is a really strong spy thriller. Like, it got a lot of bro dudes into this franchise, which is good for the franchise because it's more money, you know? They checked that movie out. They weren't interested in the first Captain America, but they were interested in this. But I agree with you, Amelia, that my interest within the MCU lie in the more interesting out there stuff. The Guardians of the Galaxies, Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther.
Yeah.
I thought all of those were brilliant movies, and I'm less interested in seeing a follow-up to. And that's what I worried Falcon and the Winter Soldier was going to be, like just that. But then they pulled out some interesting topics about like how economically the snap has affected everything. Didn't call out that. We've already started to talk on like racial problems within the Marvel Universe, which has never ever been brought up before, you know, which is an interesting thing to touch on. And then the last thing that really got me, that surprised me about Falcon and the Winter Soldier was actually the filmic choices they made over the course of it. I didn't think like cinematically it would be anything less than just frame the characters and then cut to the action. Bucky in particular, his sequences were just shot really interestingly, like the really extreme close-ups in the
we thought that
in the therapist office, and then the shot in it that I actually really love, where he goes on that date and you see him walk into the restaurant, and there's that square window and it's all fogged up. She walks and he walks in, and then you just you can hear the dialogue from off screen, and he's just completely isolated in this like fogged up square. That's good filmmaking. I did not expect it, you know?
Yeah. I was like, as far as they all go, this was when they announced all the ones they were doing. This is probably the one I was least excited for.
Same.
Honestly, just because I'm not that big on Winter Soldier and stuff, and I knew it was going to be like that. So, I'm still enjoying it though. I'm still going to watch all of it every Friday. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still going to be shocked when there's cliffhangers and stuff like that. But
I still really want Sam Wilson to become Captain America.
No, he will.
Yeah, that's where it's going.
He will.
This isn't just, like, obviously because it would be great for diversity as well, but I think the character, he would be amazing. I think he'd be perfect. And
He's
if
great
they're
in the
scared to do
comics.
it, then it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, this is like the thing with it, I think. I've seen everyone kicking off. Like, there's those really shitty pictures that you see on, like, Facebook and stuff, where it's like, it's a picture of Captain America, and it's a picture of the concept of Sam as Captain America, and then a picture of that dude, the US agent dude, and it's like, what we wanted, what we thought we were going to get, what we actually... all that bullshit that people fucking share.
Yeah.
When I see that, though, it kind of makes me think that people think that that's it.
Yeah, right? That's
Shield
how people are
belongs to
reacting.
thing, you know?
One.
Yeah. We're going somewhere.
really
It's a
weird.
story. Like, this guy's not
it's the
going to be
first
Captain
episode.
America. It's so
But
silly.
they can't watch it and think, oh, right, that's it, Sam's never going to be the Captain America. Obviously, that's where the show's going, you know what I mean? It's obviously going to be about him realising that he has to be.
I mean,
It just annoys me.
how much do you guys know about US Agent as a character?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I know he's a
enough.
bad guy in the comics, isn't he? Or something.
So iffy. I mean, I can give you like the briefest rundown of how I think things are going to go. But if you would rather stay in the dark about it and just enjoy the TV show,
Tell me. I'm fine. Unless
for it.
everyone else wants
okay. So this is the stuff that I think is going to be brought up. So bad guy, sort of more anti-hero, because he's existed for so long now, since like the 80s. So it's comics. People flip sides all the time. Whatever. But the express point, the original creation of the character from an actual writing perspective, was people in the US were annoyed that Steve Rogers had dropped the mantle of Captain America. He'd done it a couple of times because, as a character, quite interestingly, he's always been kind of anti-American imperialism. Like, in the 40s, he was just war propaganda, but then when they revived him in the 60s, they were fairly quick to let the character know about the nukes, and he very much wasn't okay with it, So people were annoyed in America that he would drop that mantle, because it's unpatriotic and what's going on, this and the other. So the writer decided to write a character explicitly as a nationalist, a proper patriotic nationalist. What happens if he becomes Captain America, and how dangerous would that be? How potentially violent could that sort of character get with those powers under his stead? So I think that stuff is going to stay. He does have powers. He gets powers from there's a dude called the Power Broker, and he you can pay him and he'll give you super strength. It's stupid. That might stay. I don't know. The word Power Broker is in the credits. I don't know. And then he joins a superhero wrestling league. I don't think that's staying.
That's
That'd
a
be
shame.
intense. Could you imagine
might be like-
WWE, but it's just like superheroes and stuff?
I mean, there might be like a thingy. There might be like that'd be really, if there's like a sequence, kind of like the Captain America in the first one, when he's doing all the films and he's doing the stage stuff. There's like that, but also it's like, it's US Agent. It'd be funny, just a single scene where he's like there promoting like a WWE thing or whatever. And like, it's just like a little nod to that.
So that's how, in the comics, that's how the government find out about him and give him the title of Captain America, because he's part of this wrestling league. The thing, I think that point about how Captain America's used in the first half of the first movie, I don't even know if he's going to have superpowers in this show, I think they're just using him as a figurehead, as a mantle. Like, we've seen that shot of him like going to the football stadium and high-fiving a dude. I don't think he's going to engage that much.
He's a mascot almost.
He's a mascot. I think that's how he's going to get used. If he does have superpowers, I don't know, but like I don't even think they'll do it. The last thing. Oh, actually, no. Side bit of trivia. Do you want to know something really tasteless they did with this character? So at one point, they gave him like a Captain America shield that could like spikes could pop out of it. So it would look like the star, like around the edge. So it'd be like extra dangerous when he chucked it. But on the inside of the shield was engraved all of the names of the 9/11 victims.
My God. Jesus.
And you know what I like about that? I like the fact that because that was written into the comic, someone over at Hasbro was ordered to make a US Agent figure, and they had to approach their higher up and say, do I actually have to mold all the 9/11 victim names into the toy shield?
And did they?
No, they did not. They did not. No. The last point of contention is that not point of contention. The last point to make is he did briefly show up in the miniseries when Sam Wilson did become Captain America, and he's very much not a fan of that kind of thing happening. So I think that stuff will come up. So I'll be interested to see how they use him, but that's the relevant information. The rest of it is all kind of rubbish. And the one other notorious thing is that every time, like, he would enter different like Avengers teams, like West Coast Avengers and those kind of side things, and every time they'd introduce him, the comic would get cancelled. He's got like some sort of curse.
Wow, no.
So
guess we're not getting a season 2 then.
With that kind of stuff out of the way, let's talk about Justice League. So Justice League: The Snyder Cut is finally released, and Joe, you saw it before me. You generously said it was fine. I have to disagree severely. This movie's got a lot of problems.
Yeah, it does. The thing is though, right? I think I've kind of fell into the same trap that a lot of other people have, because you've not seen the original version of you.
No.
You've not seen the Whedon cut. So for you, you've got a much clearer opinion of it, because you can come at it with like, this is a brand new film. Whereas a lot of people, especially the people saying it's a masterpiece, which you clearly have no taste. They're comparing it to the Whedon version, which is god awful. It's like a dumpster fire, but this is still a dumpster fire. It's just less of a roaring flame. It's more of a dumpster fire. Slightly. Yeah. It's more of like the aftermath that put the fire out.
Different is the plot. Just the plot. I'm not really interested in the scenes, but the plot to the Whedon cut.
So overall, it's the same.
Okay.
It's still Steppenwolf goes to Chernobyl or something. It's not actually Chernobyl, but it is.
Yeah.
And then he goes, but the thing, he does that, and then he kidnaps all the people, and then they go and do that, and then the tunnel explodes with the water and stuff. Before all that, Batman's going around trying to get everyone. There's that really awful joke where he's like, so what's your superpowers? I'm rich. Fuck off. It's not funny.
I was amazed to see all those lines are still in the Snyder one.
Yeah.
I thought they would be Whedon lines, and they're not. My man's a Snyder line. I couldn't get over that.
It is. The one that he cut out, and Zack Snyder even said that it's a terrible line, and I have to agree with him. It's the one when Batman, I don't know if you've seen it in the thing, it's the one that the original version of it is just so hated for. It's when when Superman grabs him after he comes back, and he says to Batman, like, "Do you bleed?" or something. He repeats that line to him, and it's awful, and it makes no sense in the story. And he cut that out because that was a Whedon line. But yeah, there's still loads of shit in there. The story's basically the same. They decide the only one who can defeat the bad guys is Superman, so they use the box to bring him back, and then they go to Russia and they fight him, and Superman shows up just as it looks like they're about to fail. And then stuff like all that happens really is the Snyder Cut adds context to stuff because that's something the Whedon Cut was lacking. They tried to take it.
It kind of adds like fucking about. I don't doubt that there's going to be more context, but like, so one of the really big problems to me about this movie is the entire intro is Steppenwolf. Obviously, he goes to Themyscira to get the mother box. He goes to Atlantis to get the mother box. He's hunting down all these mother boxes. They don't tell you what a mother box is until an hour and a half into the film.
They don't actually tell you what it is at all in the Whedon one.
That's unbelievable. Imagine if the first time you were told what an Infinity Stone was an hour and a half into Infinity War.
That's essentially what it was, yeah. Yeah. That's basically... And then the thing of it is, right, so in the Whedon version, he goes from... What's the place where Wonder Woman's cut from?
Themyscira.
Themyscira, yeah. He goes from there straight to Atlantis and gets it. Like there's none of that bit of him in the middle trying to find out where it is. He just gets one after the other, and that's kind of so you don't actually know the whole bit where he's talking to that dude about how he's failed Darkseid. Now he's gonna, I can get this for him and I can redeem myself or whatever. None of that's in the Whedon Cut, so he doesn't actually have a motive. He's just a CGI villain coming to take over the world with these boxes. And then he kidnaps the people to find out where the last one is.
I'm so fed up with CGI villains.
Yeah, it's...
so fed up.
Yeah. It's really not entertaining. The new design as well, it's something else. Like...
It's
kind of hilarious. Because the armor, it like moves a lot, right? It's like... he doesn't put it on. It wraps around him, right? But because it's like so clingy, there's like a bit where he like makes the helmet disappear, and you just got like the collar coming around here. He looks like when you like pull your foreskin back or something, you know? It's just this fucking
really weird.
This little clump. It's so
really
bizarre. Weird. It's so bizarre. It's a weird villain problem in this as well, because so one of the other really big weird ways they deliver exposition and information is there's the scene where they tell you what the mother boxes are, and they like flash back to like Atlanteans and Amazons and one Green Lantern fighting against Darkseid. He invades, right? The thing is, what happens is Darkseid gets to Earth, picks up some dirt, drops it, and then yells. That's all he does. And then almost instantly, Ares stabs him with an axe, and it takes him out. Blood goes everywhere, and he like faints, and he's dragged away, and they've got to flee. Now, here's the issue with that, right? Ares was the villain in the Wonder Woman movie, and Ares was quite swiftly beaten by Wonder Woman, who has had 100 years of experience now in the plot since that fight happened. She can't beat Steppenwolf, though, on her own. Superman sort of can. So here's our power rankings based on the information delivered in this movie. Here's Superman at the top. Underneath that is Steppenwolf. Underneath that is the entire rest of the Justice League. Underneath that is Ares. And underneath that is Darkseid.
Yeah. He's just a guy. He's just good at planning. You know what I mean? He's weak inside.
Like he's just a regular. Again, I'm going to use an MCU as a comparison. Imagine if before Thanos showed up, there was a scene where Ronan the Accuser just twatted him.
Yeah.
That's the equivalent. That's honest to God. That's the equivalent. It's so baffling. Completely takes it out. There's some scenes in it that are flat out hilarious. Like. There's a sequence where I was like cackling with laughter when this happened. So Lois Lane shows up quite a lot in this movie. She doesn't do anything, but she's in it a lot.
Yeah, no.
The scene where
her bits are just thrown all over the place as well. They should all be clumped together, but they're not. They're just thrown randomly wherever the fuck you want them.
That's a really good point, actually, because there's a lot of this movie that is, like, incoherent scenes. Like, they don't... Like, you learn a lot about the Flash, you learn a lot about Cyborg, you learn a lot about Aquaman, but the things you learn don't impact the plot. They're all just there to set up Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman movies.
Yeah.
They don't circle back round. And Lois Lane stuff is really, a lot like that.
The introduction to Flash scene with what's her name in it?
Iris West.
Yeah, it's so pointless.
Yeah. Oh, also that scene reveals that Flash is a massive creep. So she gets in a car and this truck hits her car and she sends flying. Flash uses his super speed to like catch her and like adjust her in midair so he can like lay her down gently. But before he does it, he just caresses her face and her hair. He uses his super speed to touch a girl up without her knowing. That's the first thing he does.
Yeah, he doesn't
even think. It's not really the best time, is it?
No.
It just, and then it tries to add comedy to it because he's like, oh, there's a hot dog fly, I'm just gonna pocket that. What the fuck? It's so weird, and just cut the scene out. You know what I mean? Just get rid of it. It doesn't need to be there.
He's had 3 years to think about this movie and the script and what doesn't work, and I'm amazed all this stuff is still in it. Like, I was going to say, one of the Lois Lane scenes, she gets a knock on the door, she opens it up, it's Martha Kent, and they sit down, they have coffee, and Lois Lane's like, I'm just really sad that your son's dead. And Martha's like, yeah, me too, I sold the farm. Anyway, do me a favour, Lois, come back into the world of the living. And then it cuts, and Martha Kent's leaving the apartment and the door shuts. And then her eyes glow red, and she turns into the Martian Manhunter. It's the first time we've ever seen this character in this universe. There's no explanation of who he is or what he does. He looks fucking evil, straight up.
Wait, this happens in the Zack Snyder film?
This happens in the Snyder Cut?
Yeah, in the middle of it, yeah.
Do they think they've got like 10 plus years of like world building before this film? Did I not see a ton of films? Did I miss something?
All this stuff that he wanted to do, it's all them sequels and the trilogy and shit. It's all for that. Like, he was going to appear in the last ones, because apparently he wanted to use, he wanted to make that character Green Lantern instead. But DC were like, no, he can't. So he had to use Martian Manhunter instead. But it's so out of place, and it happened, and I was like, what the fuck? But then that's it. He's not in it again until the end.
And even then, he just shows up and he's like, hey, Bruce Wayne, I'm here to help. And Bruce Wayne goes, oh, fair fucks. That's it.
Yeah, he's just in what should be an after-credit scene, but isn't. It's just tacked. It's just, oh man, the ending. The ending is the worst bit. The ending. All the stuff that he's clearly filmed again, now that he, like, after they've said, yeah, you can release your cut, here's some money to finish it. All the stuff at the end is stuff that he's clearly filmed at the end. It's because it's terrible green screen and it's unnecessary trash.
Yes.
It goes on to the end. It's just, oh god. It's
there's a line in that really stood out to me, because so this is the scene from the trailer. Joker's on this car with like a SWAT vest and a machine gun, and he's helping Batman do something, and he starts cackling and he goes, ah, 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 ah. That's how he laughs. It's atrocious, right?
I actually cringe when he was on screen.
And he says he keeps like pushing, he teases Batman about Jason Todd, and Batman's like, choose your next words wisely, and then he says something else, and he's like, that wasn't very wise. That's the line. It's amazing. And then this is the bit. This is the like, was that even necessary? Batman says, you know, when Harley Quinn was bleeding to death in my arms, which immediately is like, could you not? When Harley Quinn was bleeding to death in my arms, she asked me, when I kill you, and I will fucking kill you, to do it slow.
God, it's so cringy, it's horrible. I cringed so bad. Like, I felt like my hands like physically clenched because of how bad I was cringing when he swore. Yeah. And like, I was already cringing because Jared Leto was talking. So I was already cringing. Like, the moment I heard his voice, I was like, oh, no.
I got a question.
Yeah, go for it.
When does Harley Quinn die? Again, something I've missed.
At some point between Justice League and what would have been Justice League 3, she would die.
So is this what we were saying when he had loads of plans and he's basically just pretended that they've happened and made a film?
Yes.
Okay.
This is a nightmare scene as well. This is like the Batman vs Superman nightmare scene that was just in the film. This is just another one, but it's now at the end, and it kind of ends with the classic Bruce Wayne in bed and he goes, oh. Classic wakes up in bed. It was all a dream, and then he goes outside conveniently and starts talking to Martian Manhunter. Yeah, it's terrible. It's honestly trash. And the worst part about it is Ben Affleck has clearly lost loads of weight. He's so thin, like compared to
because
the rest
he
of the
was
film.
so bulked up for that fucking movie. Yeah,
For the ones that they actually shot, and then all the reshoots they've done later on, he goes from I'm Batman. It's like. Yeah, but he's really thin.
I'm Bat Dude.
and like the work, it's at the Wayne Manor. You know that thing on the lake that they use. It's there, but it's clearly a green screen. Like I get that his whole thing was I'm gonna finish it, even have to film it in my back garden or whatever. But it does kind of look like you filmed it in your back garden, Zack Snyder. So it's
one
just
of the. There's a lot of little things that I won't dwell on. Like I think there's some of the stuff that the CGI it's really bad, and there's some action sequences that the only example I'll give you is one of the action sequences. It doesn't feel like anyone in the scene knows what's happening, including Zach. Like when Steppenwolf is trying to get the mother box from Themyscira, there's this scene where one of the Amazons is riding on the back of a horse, and she lassos the mother box and pulls it towards her. And then when she pulls it towards her, she goes, "Got it, go!" But the horse is moving through the whole scene. It never stopped.
Going, yeah.
She doesn't have to say go. It feels like they didn't actually know what the scene would look like when they shot it. There's a lot of I remember when the film started, because you warned us about the slow-mo, and there is so much slow-mo.
Yeah. Honestly, if they cut all the slow-mo out and made it normal speed, it would be probably 2 hours long.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I was trying to give it the benefit of the doubt early on, because one of the first times was Lois Lane getting a coffee. It's not necessary that it is in slow-mo, but it is in slow-mo. And I thought, this was me genuinely doing my best. I thought, okay, this is in slow-mo because it's to show how slow her life feels without Superman in it. Her boyfriend was the best man you've ever met and a superhero on top of that, and now her life feels slow. Except there's so many other times where they use it where that's not what they're conveying. It's just Aquaman throws a whiskey bottle into the sea, which first off, pollution, Aquaman. I thought your whole deal was you're protecting the sea. He throws that in the sea in slow-mo because it looks cool. There's a flashback scene where Cyborg's playing football, and that's in slow-mo for some reason.
Yeah. Just lots of slow-mo.
There's so much slow-mo. I did constant. Cyborg. I thought his story and character was nice. That's my one positive I've got about the movie.
It's as much as I'm never going to watch it ever again in my entire life. There are some good things. So for example, the Cyber. The whole big thing was that I can't remember his name. I can't remember the guy who played Cyborg's name.
Ray Fisher.
Yeah, that was it. Ray Fisher. Yeah, there was the whole big thing. And obviously, there's the whole thing about Joss Whedon bullying him on set, which. We've got other stories of Joss Whedon's just a prick anyway, so,
Yeah.
And then obviously there's the whole thing about how he used to say when the original came out, that they cut out loads of his story and probably dumbed it down so he's just, just one of the other heroes. Watching this version, I can see that he's right. There's a lot of stuff about him in this, and he was a much bigger part in this one than he is in the original. There's a lot of stuff they cut out. When does his dad die in the original? I can't remember whether he does or not. I mean, I didn't really feel anything for him when he died in this one. I didn't care that he died.
Same.
It was a minor thing, and he was really sad, and I was like, great, whatever, he's dead, great. But it was just a bit better. And the only other thing was, I don't know if you've seen it, at the very end of the film, they played, what song is it? The song they play at the end, I think it's Hallelujah, and it's sung by, I can't remember what the artist is called, but essentially the reason that's in there, and then this is one of the things I think is quite nice, it's in the end because it was the reason obviously Zack Snyder left doing the film was because his daughter died.
Of course. So
the song was his daughter's favourite song, and it's sung by the guy who sung it at her funeral. and he
Right.
put it in the end. So I think that's kind of nice. I think there's also the bit where Flash and Batman, just after the terrible "I'm rich" line, they drive up that road and there's a billboard that says like "You're not alone" or something, and that's like a billboard for like suicide thing. What it adds for his daughter again, kind of thing. So
Do you know what?
again, I thought that's nice, but
It's one of these.
it doesn't
This
redeem
movie,
the film.
because it's not a good film. But Zack Snyder as a person is just. I don't know. Recently, he's just been like quite interesting. Like, I'm pretty sure the black and white cut that he's doing is like profits from it are going to like charities and stuff. Like he went on a podcast recently to promote the film, and the very first thing he did was denounce like an alt-right gamer thing that's been like harassing like women a lot. Like it feels like he is trying to use the platform he's gotten from the re-release of this film to do some good stuff. And if that's the case, and it does seem like it's the case, good on the guy for doing that. It doesn't mean I can't criticize your movie, but like,
Yeah.
you seem like you're making the best of this situation, so that's decent. Yeah, well, we could go on about it for a long time, but I think everyone's had a take on this film. If you haven't seen it yet, I don't think you're going to see it. I don't know that you should. And if you have
Is
seen
it worth
it,
sitting down for
definitely
4
form an
hours to
opinion.
watch? No.
No.
So don't. To people
So,
who think it's a masterpiece, you're wrong.
what we're going to do
That's all I have to say about that.
is we're going to envision some pitches for a different Justice League movie. What we hope is a better Justice League movie. So this could be anything. This can be an actual full story, like a little treatment, a vibe, just a little change you'd make, whatever. And we're either going to kind of amalgam them at the end, like try and produce the perfect Justice League, or maybe just decide whose is the best general idea. So does anyone want to go first? If not, I'll kick us off.
I mean, I can. My DC knowledge is minimal, but I can give it a go.
Go for it, Jacob.
Yeah. Okay. So, as we said, so this is in place of just the first Justice League movie we got.
Yeah, so the
everything
rules
that
are...
happened before that is the same.
Yes.
Yeah. So we start off Superman's dead, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, what I've got is it starts off just one by one. We have different portals or whatever. It's always portals, but what else is it going to be? Just opening around Earth randomly.
Okay.
But each one closes before the next one opens, and each time some parademons and Steppenwolf come through, break up some stuff, and go back. So they're looking for something as they go through. Conveniently, it turns out there are 7 of these portals. And on the 7th one, they're at Superman's funeral, and they steal his body, and they take it.
Okay.
Because to the universe's knowledge, isn't he supposed to, or at least in this universe, isn't he the last Kryptonian?
Yes.
Yeah. Pretty powerful being, and he's dead. So they're like, right, we'll have his body, we'll take that. But as the portals open up, you get, obviously, one is going to be in Themyscira, one in Atlantis, one could be in Arkham Asylum. That causes a whole load of carnage that causes loads of supervillains to escape.
I like that.
Setting up future movies if you need it. One can be in Star City or Star Labs specifically, where you've got the Flash and his gang are trying to crack multi-dimensional travel or something. And that portal, they get loads of readings off it, and they're like, "Oh, here we go. This might help." So yeah, they take Superman's body back and they resurrect it using some DC thing that exists.
Yeah,
I don't know what
fair.
it would be, but they resurrect him and they bring him back, and that's where you get the classic.
The parademons do. They resurrect.
Okay, yeah, they can do that but they're off on this apocalypse world,
Okay.
which I'm pretty sure is where they're from. So they're on a totally different planet across the universe or whatever. And in bringing him back, they put him in that, maybe they put him in like a black goo, so that as he comes out, he's in black suit.
He's in the black suit. Okay.
And he's got a mullet or whatever else.
That's something actually. I'm gonna pause you briefly.
Go on.
In the Snyder Cut, he puts the black suit on, but there's no reason for it. Like in the
Oh, yeah,
comics,
there's no
in the
reason
comics,
for it.
it's like a regenerative suit, but in this, he just puts it on
Yeah.
because it's
Because
weird.
he looks
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't bother with that old one. I've already done that one. Let's do something new. I'm a
Yeah.
different Superman now.
So he immediately wakes up and rather than waiting around waiting for orders or anything, he just flies off trying to head back to Earth. But because he's flying there directly, it's going to take a few hours or weeks or however long, which gives everyone back home a bit of time to prepare. I was contemplating the idea of like Wonder Woman could go through the portal and see everything that goes on. Like as their fight, she could be at his funeral because they met in BVS. So she could be there. So she goes through trying to get his body back or whatever. And then she would play the Hulk role like we got in Infinity War, where she's the one who comes back and warns everyone.
Oh, okay.
Somehow. So whether she ends up opening her own portal or something, I don't know, but that's that. While all this has been going on, Batman, who also could have been at the funeral, wants to investigate what's going on, where have these portals come from, so he starts visiting them. And in visiting all the portals, he begins to recruit some of the other members. So he could go to Atlantis, meet up with Aquaman, tell him that something's about to happen, so for the interest of both of them, for Atlantis and Earth, they might as well team up. He also ends up going to Star Labs, meets Barry Allen, very quickly works out that he's the Flash because he's the world's greatest detective, supposedly, so yeah, he would know that. And then you get all this. That's where like this portal bit, I sort of ripped it straight from Endgame at the end because that was a pretty epic moment. And also DC needs something to set itself apart from Marvel. And the one thing that neither have done yet is like multi-dimensional, bringing characters across from other franchises.
Right.
So towards
the end, are you about to say
when
Ryan Reynolds is going to show up? Like,
I've got 2 question marks next to his name, so not necessarily. But yeah, the fight that we're going to get at the end is going to have characters come across. So you could have Michael Keaton as old Batman come across.
Okay.
Why not? Batman's dad, because he's been a Batman, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Who plays him? Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yeah.
He could come through, and then Batman could have this touching moment where he gets to say goodbye to his dad properly or whatever. Kind of like Tony Stark in Endgame, where he goes back in time, but whatever. So yeah, eventually Superman comes back, and before we have all this multi-dimensional stuff, they fight him, and they get him good again, somehow. Maybe they just hit him with like a Kryptonian, like a kryptonite hammer, and it fixes his memory or something.
It gongs.
I don't know.
It gongs and a big lump comes out of his head.
Yeah, exactly. And they bring him back. It's at that point that Steppenwolf, Darkseid, the Parademons are like, we've lost him. Our secret weapon has gone back to Earth. Let's go back and get him. So then they go back again to go and retrieve him, and that's where you get your big fight, and all your heroes from different properties come across. Because there's a Wonder Woman from that failed 2011 TV show. Don't know if you know about that.
Yeah.
But you could have her, put her in there. You could bring across Shaq as Steel, maybe.
Yes! Yes!
Do
Okay,
that.
I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to be real for a second. I was very on the fence about this 20 seconds ago. Now I'm all in.
Yep. Good. Maybe bring back Brandon Routh as that Superman as well. Why not? Bring him in. Kind of like how
Nick Cage? Nick Cage Superman?
Yes,
yeah, cool.
definitely.
Oh, yes, please.
Grant Gustin from the Flash TV show, because that's the most popular one out of those TV shows, I reckon. Out of the CW ones, maybe. Why not?
Which one? Wait, which guy?
Grant
Flash.
Gustin, the guy who plays the Flash. Yeah.
I'd say the Flash is the most popular
watched him in a
CW
while,
one.
so. Probably.
And then they fight, and that's pretty much it. They defeat him, I guess, somehow.
I know.
Cyborg, they'd meet up with Cyborg at some point. I think I had one of the portals that opened up right at the start could be international rather than just all conveniently being in America. So he could be on some sort of college study abroad, something, trying to do some good, and he gets killed by a portal or a parademon in such a way that he's half killed and gets brought back as a cyborg. I don't know too much about his origin, but yeah. I don't think Green Lantern should be in it at all. It's very much an Earth-based story. Or mine is
I mean,
anyway.
he is the protector of Earth, though, so it would make sense.
Maybe you could bring him in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
because
then
that Green Lantern movie just fucked around with so much space stuff that I think
Yeah. I don't really know what he's
changed
about,
the perception
but-
of who Hal Jordan's supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the whole thing, isn't it? Each planet's meant to have a Green Lantern or something, isn't it? So,
Well, you could put him
and
in.
he is Earth's. Yeah, well, yeah, it's kind of thing, isn't it? I think that's why he wanted it to be. I think that in the Snyder Cut, I think that's why there's only one Green Lantern in that scene when they're all fighting. Because he's,
Yeah.
He's supposed to be the defender of just Earth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'm into it. There's
Okay.
some good stuff.
Yeah.
I do worry that it would be a bit like I think some of it could come across a bit confusing. But you won me over with Shaq, right?
Yeah.
Like any fears I had about multiverse stuff this early on, you sweep them away with Shaq.
It's just you
anyone
gotta
else?
make it like not take yourself too seriously when you do it. Like
Yeah, right.
if they do a Spider-Verse one, whether it's animated or live action, which whoever gets doing Spider-Verse first again, you've got to bring in that Japanese Spider-Man with his Zord.
Yeah, with his
big-
Megazord,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, you just have to. You can't take yourself seriously with it. And if Shaq and Nicolas Cage and all of that, I think wouldn't be too serious.
Yeah,
But yeah.
brought me back on board, 100%. So, who would like to go next?
I mean, it's really weird because I've kind of, in trying to come up with a Justice League thing, I've more kind of come up with a Man of Steel 2.
So have I. Go ahead.
It's kind of it's really weird because it doesn't really. It's more of a sequel to Man of Steel that isn't Batman vs Superman. So what I've kind of accidentally done, instead of coming up with a replacement for Justice League, I've come up with a replacement for Batman vs Superman. But you know what? It could be a thingy. I can adjust it. So essentially, what it could be, it would be like. It wouldn't be as crazy as thingy, like the whole dark side thing. I wouldn't probably do that. I would probably. It would be, if I'm going to adapt, right, I'll try and adapt it to thingy. It's going to end up being a lot like the thingy one was, I suppose. But you've got kind of like, my whole idea for a Superman thing is the bad guy would be Brainiac, which for anyone who doesn't know, I mean, I know you know who Brainiac is, Sam. Do you?
No, I'm smiling because my villain is also Brainiac.
Yeah. Do you?
Is the
Amelia
green
and-
one with the skull ship or something, right?
Octopus
Yeah.
tentacle
So
ships,
essentially, Brainiac, what he does is he's like a collector almost. What he does, he goes around to different planets and he takes cities and shrinks them down and puts them into like little jars and has them as the thingy. And you know, in the thing, he's got loads of them, but he's got like one of them is
Kandor. It's called Kandor.
Kandor,
You
that's
son
it,
of a
it's called
bitch.
Kandor.
The dome city of Kandor.
Yeah. So one of them's Kandor, which is one of the cities from Krypton before it blew up. It's also the city that Supergirl came from, and like her parents are inside it and stuff like that. It's weird, but then he comes to Earth, and you know, obviously he takes Metropolis because it's a Superman villain, so he has to take Metropolis.
Yep.
And he just takes it up, and then Batman, then Superman thing. I think the thing about it is while they're inside the bottle, Superman doesn't have his powers. That's the interesting aspect to it, because the dome cuts off the sun. It doesn't cut off the sun, but it cuts off his connection to the sun, which I also think it would make a really good plot for a Superman game, because it gives you a reason to not have Superman have his powers straight away. You have to earn them back throughout the game. It would be really good. But in the film, right, so, it's after Superman's died. I don't know how long it's after. Batman and Wonder Woman, they're not whatever it is in the Justice League, where they're not friends or whatever, and she only comes to him. They're just friends, they keep in touch. They're just chilling. Batman's in Batman vs Superman, they find all those videos, don't they, of all the different people, and, he's looking into that. He's doing his own thing. He's like, there was that stuff. I'm doing my own Batman stuff at the same time, and I'm doing that stuff. But then Metropolis, this is a weird one, isn't it? Isn't Gotham right next to Metropolis? It's basically Brooklyn and stuff. It's really weird in this universe. But essentially what happens is Brainiac comes along, starts to take Metropolis. Maybe he does take Metropolis. Who knows? and they're like, well, shit, we need to figure out how to stop this dude from taking Metropolis. So, the first plan, similar to what it is in the film, they bring the gang together. They're like, right, we can't do it on our own. Let's bring everyone together. And then maybe there's a confrontation. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe Brainiac sends his dudes down or whatever. I don't know. And they fight and they mess. It's, again, very similar to what we got. And then they got to figure out. They're like, right, well, Superman can figure this out. Superman can be the one to bring him down. So how do we get Superman back? And this is where I kind of don't really know how to think it, because in my original idea for this, Superman was just already alive. He didn't die. So, I don't know, they'd have to figure out a way to bring Superman back. That isn't the stupid Mother Box way. I don't know how else they would do it, though. Maybe they could go to his ship or something. I don't know. And maybe they get the suit, they get the black suit, and they use that, and it gives it a purpose to regen him. I don't know. But they defeat Thingy, he puts Metropolis back, and then something happens at the end which alerts Darkseid that all this shit's going on. He's like, that looks interesting, that Earth. And then there you go, that's my Justice League.
Well,
it's not that much different, it implements Brainiac instead of Darkseid, because I prefer Brainiac as a villain.
Yeah.
He's cooler.
I'll jump off that because there's a lot of similarities between our pitches and it's a little bit scary. But we do divert somewhere along the way in the second act. So, yeah, right. So I would open it straight up. I would open it actually on Kandor, on Krypton. Like, it's set way before all the movies. It's Krypton. And just to make it clear, it's a cool space city. It's not cliff sides and dinosaurs. It's an actually cool space city, right? Straight up.
Yeah, not that weird fucking Man of Steel one that we had.
Yeah.
With Russell Crowe diving off mountains and shit. Living Avatar life on the back
of jumping on the back of a pterodactyl. Yeah, right? So, it's a proper cool space city. Shadows come over it. It's Brainiac ships. And there's like a big blast of light. And then when it clears, it's like a crater and Brainiac like leaves. That's the intro of the movie. There's like barely any dialogue. It's just like destruction, aliens show up, steal it, and then it like cuts to black, and I'll put the Justice League logo there, and it'll be the old theme from the cartoon, the dun 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 dun, ba-na-na, and all the fans will be like, yeah, this is a thing I recognize. Right, so then we cut. It's Earth. Batman has been building a mega cool space station because he's like, oh my god, I'm really scared of aliens because I was really racist about aliens in the last movie, and Lex Luthor said more aliens are coming, so I definitely need to build a big gun in space to fight off all those aliens. So he's
Zack Snyder over here. Look at him.
He's building a big space station, right? And Wonder Woman's the one that's actually trying to get in contact with the people from the video because she was the one that was watching all that stuff anyway. I think she's got more heart. You know, she's going to be a better recruiter than Batman would be, perhaps. So she's going to try and get in contact with all the other members of the Justice League. And then Brainiac shows up to Earth, and Batman's like, he gets like an alert or something in the back cave. And they're like, oh my god, we've got Alfred, I'm the cannons, whatever. And it just gets like obliterated. Brainiac just like takes it out, whatever. It's easy mode. Comes down and snaps up all of Metropolis and the Smallville area because I can't remember where Superman's buried, so he's just going to get the lot. Right?
I think he is in Smallville, yeah.
And he's just going to take the whole... It's not even going to be like a struggle. He's just going to take it. Just like with Kandor.
Going to take the entire like, chunk.
It's gone, right? So obviously that kind of shakes things up on Earth. Everyone's like, whoa, what just happened? That's insane. Cut to inside Kandor on Brainiac's ship, right? So the Kryptonians have been trying to figure out a way to break out of the dome that they've been kept in. So they're developing the boom tube technology, the DC portals, right? And they detect just over there in the neighboring dome... Holy shit, there's a Kryptonian over there. We've got to go get our boy. So this is a good... We'll test our boom tube technology to see if we can start to escape these domes, and we'll go collect our boy. And I'm just going to say, Superman didn't really die in BVS. There's that shot right at the end of BVS where the rocks... Yeah, he's like self-regenerating, but it's going to take ages, you know? That sort of thing. So they bring his body aboard, they put him in the black suit, that's a regenerative suit or whatever, you know. They find out that he's a member of House L, so they honor him and they put the S on it, whatever, right? He gets out, he loves it. He's like, holy shit, this is my people. I love this because like I'm like a god down there, and like y'all are all like the same. So this is pretty rad, right? I can't believe I'm meeting my people. But then
Tries
they
to
turn
fly
out
away
to
and just
be...
jumps off the table.
He's like, but over time he discovers that they're like really elitist. Like he's like they're really like full of themselves and stuff because they're Kryptonians and they're the best in all the universe. And he starts to be like, oh my god, this is how the people of Earth see me. I'm gonna stop doing this in the sky all the time in front of the sun, and I'm gonna stop acting that way because I don't like the way these pricks are acting, and I'm occasionally gonna smile. Oh my god, no, this has just reminded me. Superman smiles a lot in the Snyder Cut. Like he's heard the criticisms that Superman never smiles, but Zack Snyder is a walking fucking monkey's paw because the only times that he does smile is when he's contemplating murdering someone.
Yeah.
Like the fights he has against the Justice League, he'll look at Batman and he'll grin and then he'll try and kill him. He'll like smile at Steppenwolf and then try and kill him. It's like, no, this is not what we meant, Zack. So, he's like, right, I can't be like these people, but like I can learn from them and it's okay. And then he learns that their plan is basically just bust open like all of Kandor, and in doing so, it would probably destroy all the other cities that Brainiac has like captured all over the years, and he sort of can't allow it to happen. So he formulates a plan to steal the boom tube technology, so to break himself out, and then he can try and find a way to save everyone because he's Superman, and that's his whole deal. He wants to save everyone. Meanwhile, Brainiac, who's been flying away from Earth after having successfully taken Metropolis, one of his men's like, "Oh, big green one, that we've found something else on Earth that you'll probably be interested in. Do you want to do a U-turn and go back?" And he's like, "Yeah, fuck it, why not? That wasn't a trouble, was it? What? I wonder what it is." Batman's space satellite picks up that Brainiac's back on the way, so he contacts Wonder Woman, who's got in contact with Cyborg and the Flash, and they're like, right, we found out Brainiac's going to come back, we've got to defend. He's coming back, he's going to take Gotham. So they like line up on like the Gotham rooftops, the Batman symbols there, and Brainiac just doesn't show up, because why the fuck would he want Gotham? He goes for Atlantis, but Batman's such an egotist that he just assumes he would come for Gotham. So they just miss it, right? The Justice League just miss it because Brainiac goes for Atlantis. But because Arthur Curry's a badass, like, as he takes Atlantis, and he does take Atlantis, because his ships aren't equipped to like be in the ocean and stuff, Arthur Curry just raises the ocean into like a massive tsunami and starts flailing things around. Maybe he chucks a couple of sharks at him or something, something cool.
Nice.
And he like actually like takes out some ships, and the main Brainiac mothership tries to
like a Sharknado or something.
Yeah, like a Sharknado, a couple of Sharknadoes. He tries to like jet away, but this massive tidal wave like goes through the ship, so it like stutters the engine, so it starts to fly off, but it ends up over Central City, because we've not really seen Central City, and I thought it'd be fun to include. That's the Flash's thing, So
it just kind of looks like New York in Snyder Cut, doesn't it?
Doesn't it? It's just a regular.
New York. It's Metropolis again.
So Brainiac's like, right, okay, I wasn't into that. I wasn't into the fact that you attacked me. Time for some revenge then. So then it just starts into like a big superhero fight, and and Superman breaks out of the Dome City and helps everyone. There's no bit where Superman's evil. I'm not bothered about that sort of stuff, right? So here's what the fight entails. Superman and Flash, they're on evac because they got super speed. They're on protection and they're on evacuation. And Superman, crucial, is happy to be doing it. It's not a drag for him at all. He doesn't ever like grimace at the camera. He like takes people to hospitals. He uses his X-ray vision to like quickly scan people and like allow like help out the doctors and stuff. He's pretty happy to be helping people out, right? Batman and Cyborg are on infiltration to get into Brainiac's ship and see if they can find like a Phantom Menace button to shut everything down. And Aquaman and Wonder Woman, they're the warriors of the group, so they're just doing cool fighting stuff. I'm tempted to have a little scene in where like inside one of the ships, Wonder Woman like is shuffling around and then she like bangs into something and she turns around and there's like expecting a fight and there's nothing there and she's like, what the fuck? And she uses her lasso of truth to reveal an invisible jet. I don't know if that's too much, but like, you know what I mean?
Like that.
Well, I suppose this is before Thingy, isn't it? Before Wonder Woman 2 came out, wouldn't it? Yeah. So, yeah, I suppose, yeah.
So maybe she can get an invisible jet from there. And in the end, Cyborg like plugs himself into like he takes his finger off and there's a USB stick in there. He plugs himself into Brainiac's systems and downloads the data, and he basically figures out that like because they've got an automatic shrink ray button, they probably have a reversal way to do it. So he very quickly reverses all the shrinkings and stuff and just scatters all of the cities back to where they're supposed to be. The Justice League unite at the end. There's like a big group shot, kind of like in the Avengers where they all take aim at Loki. They're all like surrounding Brainiac and he's like on the floor and like, what are we going to do with him? And Cyborg's like, I've got an idea. And they shrink Brainiac down into his own little jar.
Nice.
At the end of the movie, they're all on like Batman's space station, which will just turn into the Justice League's space station that they have in the comics.
Yeah. Called something, isn't it?
Yeah. The thing is, I wanted to say the Hall of Justice, but it's not. That's the place they've got on the Earth.
No, that's like that thing, isn't it? Let me have a look. I'm gonna Google it.
So then we'll get like two little teasers at the end. So they're like, yeah, we're the Justice League and we're happy to be the Justice League. And then, I don't know, like you see like a green light come over like one of the, like from the window or something. It's like, oh man, Green Lantern showed up. The Watchtower, yeah. You see like
it's called Watchtower 1.
You see a green light come through one of the like windows of the Watchtower and it's that might be Green Lantern. And then during the mid-credits sequence, it like cuts to like a shot of space and Kandor just appears where Krypton should be. And
I was going to ask like what your plan there was.
Yeah, where Krypton should be. So there's like a setup for another Superman movie or something. So my big things are, I've essentially just made it the Avengers. I think I'm trying to make it a lot more fun. I've made Superman less of a drag, I hope. And
You've not done that the thing as well. You've not done the classic thing that Marvel has a really bad reputation for. You introduce a well-known villain and then kill him off at the end.
Yeah, I've kept him around. Crucially, I didn't want to kill him.
So he could come back for more tomfoolery.
Yeah, and that's the thing is in the Watchtower, I think like Batman has the Batcave with all his memorabilia. The Watchtower can fill up with all their little memorabilia. It's just one of them's a fucking living person in a snow globe jumping his way out.
In the comics, don't they just have Thanos like locked up in like one of their bases or something? One of their Avengers bases.
They have done it at one point. Yeah, they've had him.
Had him locked up. He's just sat there
in like the raft. Yeah, it's weird. So that leaves our last little thing. Amelia, what have you got for us?
I literally have no idea how I can follow any of you. Well, for starters, I don't have a pitch because I just don't know any of this. And I kind of wanted to hear what you guys were saying, to be fair. The only thing that I would add is I'd steal all of your ideas, but the only thing I would have, which none of you had, which is classic superhero trope, there's going to be a beam in the sky somewhere. I don't know where.
There's going to be a beam in the sky! Oh!
How dare you miss beam in the sky?
Forgot about the beam in the sky.
So there you go. That's what I'm going to have for 4 hours. It's just going to be a live stream of a beam in the sky for 4 hours. That's it. That'll be my pitch.
Beam in the sky, and then the Justice League have to come together to figure out what it is.
Yeah.
And it's just Darkseid taking his sweet time.
There you go.
He's like, his beam machine's a bit broke.
So it's taking ages to get there.
Yeah, that's it. He's like, his beam machine's a bit broke, so he's just on his way. He's just sliding down very slowly. He's just like chilling, like,
good. Throughout the whole of this 4-hour live stream of this beam, all you can hear is that horrible joke laugh that Joe hates. That's it. That's it.
There was another sound in the Snyder Cut that really grated on my nerves. Every single time Wonder Woman so much as walks through a door, the fucking soundtrack goes every single time.
It's so bad. Like the first time it was kind of cool in that bank scene, and then he keeps on doing it. I'm like, fuck off. You've done it already.
Something else. Now, I'll just say, in total fairness, right, Amelia, you had the shortest pitch, but I also think you were the truest to superhero cinema out of all of us.
I think I win.
Oh, man. So, let us know in the comments if you got any pitches for what you would do for a Justice League movie, whether it be a direct sequel like we've done to the existing DCEU, or just take it totally free reign, or if you liked, the Snyder Cut and what they were going for. Let us know what you think about that as well in the comments down below. Thank you very much for checking us out. Hit like and hit subscribe if you've enjoyed us, and hit follow if you've been listening to us via Pod Cast. You can also follow us on social media for updates about the show on Twitter and Instagram at The Real Outtakes. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.